Alright, welcome to episode 25, I want to say. Actually, I'm not sure on this fact. I might have said that wrong. Don't worry about it. Anyway, nonetheless, welcome to today's video. Welcome to episode 24. I'm good at this. That's alright, I didn't record for the last 2 days because I was doing stuff with family. That's crazy. Anyway, we're back. So, episode 24. Last time, had some stuff happen. Mostly about this giant war that happened in China. So the Indians and the North Chinese and the Japanese all got together to take down this country. I mean, suppose the dark blue one, but that was kind of a revolt. However, South China now exists south of China in Vietnam. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. Didn't entirely lose. But we're going to be starting over here in the Mediterranean Sea. This is just colonialism, so as you can see, more stuff in America. I don't know how fast to colonize, but we're going to do some more today, because, yeah, sounds fun. Anyway, yeah, in the Mediterranean Sea today, there's going to be a big war. Maybe not a big one. Stop contradicting yourself. So, the North Italian country is going to start the invasion of this greenish one. They are slightly stronger, mainly because they have this area of Italy, you know, this big old plains area up here, where you can grow loads of things, and also they have trade with lots of Europe, because the trade routes go along this area, and stuff like that. I mean, they do go a bit into Italy, but there's much more up here, and down in the Italian peninsula, so these guys are slightly stronger. They lead a push towards the western parts of the country because it's weaker over there. There's only 2 major cities in this country, which feels slightly unrealistic. However, another country will be joining this war, that being the Purple Country. So they're going to invade from the south, and this country's really not doing much to stop the invaders. They spearhead to try and connect, and it's not too hard. So that's accomplished. And it's not too long before the entire country will collapse over to the invading forces. So let's have a look at that peace treaty. The Italian countries, like, when the Purple Team lost their empire, people were, as can be expected, extremely annoyed. They were a bit like, oh no, we really messed that up. So, lots of people in Italy, and the southern one at least, are very unhappy with their current situation and how their country just is at the moment. However, in the North Italian country, they were kind of like, oh, let's make a better Italy. And they also said, let's be a stronger Italy than previous Italy ever was. So, that's kind of dark. It's slightly worrying. However, none of these countries are really evil. You know, the Purple Country got a governmental rework. I'm not sure I said that right. But they were occupied for a long time, and they forced them to change the structure of their government. So although it's still the Purple Team, certain things like the way their ideology and outlook is have been changed. So they match those of the Blue Team and the Yellow Team mainly. However, other countries intervened, like the Red Team as well. I mean, also the Blue and the Red Country. I mean, the Blue and the Yellow Country are very different. I mean, so is the Blue and the Red, but they occupied Italy for, it's like a year after they were defeated. Anyway, that is not the only war of today, as we've got another one occurring in Japan. Japan's had a lot of war recently, just a lot of fighting, and all of it being with this guy. And it's not going to stop, because these guys, they're going to be moving into southern, pretty unpopulated regions of this country. I mean, maybe that's slightly unrealistic, so it's just, there's no reason to have anything on that side, really. I mean, I have both of these cities on that eastern side, but that shouldn't really matter. Anyway, I've thrown in one city for no apparent reason. The Japanese country is going to be moving towards separating this area, and they do that pretty easily. This is not going to be a very long war, as they try and get closer and closer to the major city that's always been there. As you know, always been there. And that's about it, really. They go for that stuff. And then the North Japanese military is going to mobilize. And yeah, South Japan doesn't want to fight the army, really. Before, they were just raiding a load of peasants' houses and going like, "Get me all this stuff! Surrender the town over to the Japanese." So, they're not doing that anymore, because it's military. And military is not fun to fight, unless you want it. So there you go. Also, I don't know why that island was still occupied, apparently. I mean, in the last episode, the lilac Japanese country became an awful lot more powerful with the annexation of Taiwan and those islands that nobody knew about. They're just kind of going down to Taiwan. Oh, islands. Nice. I was going to take these islands over here because nobody's got around to doing that yet. The blue country's a bit like, hey, that's not very nice. But there you go. So the Japanese have grown even more powerful, and who knows, we might just continue on that tangent in the upcoming episodes. However, a country who will be losing a lot of power today is the Scottish country. I kind of always planned this idea because I wanted this to happen. However, I didn't think I'd get this attached to the blue Scottish country. They've been through so much. I really didn't want to do this, but it's just in my plans. I don't really have plans. I'm like, there's long-term things I want to accomplish. And then sometimes it's like, what does it look like we should do on this map? Let's do that. So, yeah. And unfortunately, a huge plague famine thing has broken out in the Scottish country. Now, there were Scottish explorers in Nova Scotia. This is Nova Scotia. And they took some of their animals and stuff. And then they brought them back. They were seeing how the animals went with the land. I suppose they're just like testing it. Doesn't really matter what they were doing. They came back, and some of those animals circulated back to Scotland, and those animals carrying a disease, which meant that farm animals, they'd produce like poisonous milk if it's a cow or a goat or something, or their meat was really bad to eat, or they just generally died. Just a load of bad disease stuff like that. And this is just post few centuries, 2 centuries or so post the big old plague that happened. The Central Asian one that caused a lot of countries to fall apart. The one that nobody liked at all and was really scary for loads of people. Yeah, that plague. So people are really terrified, and Scotland's not in a good way at the moment. The population can't be fed because they don't have any food, because their animals are dying. And also, nobody wants to come and give them any food. Their borders have been closed. Britain, Ireland, Norway, they're just in an isolated bubble. And that's really not good. No one's going to approach these guys, and they need to figure out how to get a new food source and stuff like that. So, they have to make a few unfortunate sellings. What's the word? I don't know what the word is. Anyway, so not purchases, is the opposite of purchases. They have to let go of a few things which they don't want to do. So, that, unfortunately, if you're supporting the Scottish country, means that their colonies are no longer going to be with us. Or at least with Scotland. That's 60. Because there are 3 people who would like... There are 2 people who would like to buy some Scotland's colonies. So the first ones to go auctioned are these ones. I mean, they're auctioning it to pretty much everyone. However, it's only Norway who takes up the offer to buy these Icelandic and Greenland colonies. I mean, they're not really offering it to everyone. Mainly because they don't talk to everyone. They're not going to India and going, hey, would you like to buy some of Greenland? And the other country will be the Irish country, and they are going to buy the rest of Scotland's Newfoundland colony. I mean, when Scotland made this colony, the Irish were pretty annoyed. They gone and done it. They're like, this is our island, dude. So they're kind of pleased that Scotland sold this. but it also is pretty sad because Scotland was a very major trading partner for the Irish. But there you go. Scotland is now colonyless, and some countries are much more colony-filled. But we're going to leave it like that for the moment. Norway's going to do some more colonization of those random islands up there, and also this island, which brings them pretty close to Svalbard, or Stromberg, whatever it's called, which is interesting. I mean, it's not really that useful. I think there's like an entire huge vault thing on Svalbard, just a vault of loads of stuff. I think it's books and history and things. Might not be correct on that, however, I'm pretty sure there's a giant vault on Svalbard, so that a load of knowledge is preserved if something terrible happens. Because, I mean, no one's going to go and nuke Svalbard, because there's not much point. Longyearbyen, yeah, that's the city we need to bomb. Don't bomb Norway, please. I like Norway. I also own all these islands, I just can't be bothered to colour them all in. Just like if someone invades Norway, I get to recolour all those islands, I just don't want to. However, Norwegian colonization will not stop there, as they managed to set out a huge exploration, claiming, slightly settling party, and they send all these people to this really big area of Greenland to connect up their other two colonies. Now, there's not much point doing this, because you don't really walk around in Greenland, you go by boat, because it's Greenland. However, it looks a lot better on the map, and the Norwegians, well, it makes them feel a lot stronger. Also, you know, it's got loads of ports, and it's not really ports, it's more like tiny settlements all over Greenland now, so that's cool, I suppose. But I suppose we will stick with America, because some cool things are going to be happening in America today. First off, the Irish, after receiving some, I mean, they lost money purchasing this, but eventually they'll remake that money. I mean, also the Scottish bought some livestock that wasn't infected, and just some food. And, you know, people leased them some land in various areas so they could farm those animals, because they kind of worked out. They got a few people they didn't think would be carrying the disease, because although people don't carry the disease, they don't know it. Oh, that's cool. That is cool. Anyway, so the Irish have increased the size of their colony in Canada, Quebec, and this is Labrador actually, I think. However, I don't care. I think I'm also going to give them this island over here. The English will be increasing the size of their colony as they travel up further north to connect up with the Irish, who are pretty good allies of them. And finally they managed to connect with this bit. This is quite a lot of colonization for England. Oh, the terrain and, you know, the temperature up here, it's a lot nicer than the one that the Irish are dealing with. And also the French, because the French are in Mexico, and Mexico's really hot. Just imagine living in France and then somebody sending you off to go colonize Mexico. Just like, no, you don't want to do that. It's really hot. The Bretons have almost reached their max colonization for the moment. They can't really add too much more to their country, so with some relatively straight line borders, they're going to finish off their current colony. This isn't the end for Breton colonization, unless I have a huge change in my plan. They will do more stuff. However, for the moment, the Bretons are going to leave it like this. You know, they're making a load of money from it. Just leave it how it is for the moment. The Terracotta in the French country, we're doing some colonization. I'm thinking. Because I actually have a plan of what I want the colonial map to look like, just so I don't make it look really bad and really ugly or something. Because, you know, eventually all these colonies will get independence, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to make the USA like how we have the USA. I mean, an aim in this series is to make the world look very different. Some things are going to look the same. I mean, if you look at France and England, that looks relatively similar. Ireland looks pretty much the same. as Western Europe though, and that could change, potentially. But it hasn't. The French will be doing some more colonization into this area, but they mostly focus around the coast because they've worked out Mexico is a desert. Mexico is not fun to explore, especially if you're used to living in France. Oh, damn it. So that's not a ton of fun for them. Anyway, the coast is pretty useful because people can come to their area to trade with and stuff, although they are the most Western American colony, so I'm not sure how true that is. But the Terracotta Nation will be making a new colony in Puerto Rico. So they've gone down there and made a colony. And I feel like everyone's had a relatively fair amount of colonization for the day. Except for Cuba. They're not Cuban, they're Granadan. And once again, say it with me now, 73. That's a cool looking green. Well, you can't see it, so. And 45. That's 54. So these guys will finish off colonizing Cuba. Maybe there's a few islands that are part of Cuba. However, I take this island. And that's it for the moment. Also, the red country is taking Jamaica. I'm sorry, Jamaica. In our real life timeline, in this timeline, yeah, they're just getting colonized. Actually, I've changed my mind. I just remembered something. The Cubans are not done yet. They go down and form a colony somewhere. I'm not entirely sure what this thing. The precision. They might take those northern islands, but I'm not sure. Yeah, the fact that the borders look so not straight, that's just how they drew it. It's like random islands that are causing it to look like that. That's entirely why. It now looks like the green country is eating the Norwegian colony. Oh well. But yeah, I said we do some cool stuff with America, and that's not the cool stuff with America that we were meant to be doing today. Because something even cooler will be happening with this colonies country. And their American stuff is them going over here. So, they expand all the way around here. Not quite like that. The Koreans will do a last bit of expansion, and so will this grey country, because why not? And then Sakhalin will take up the rest of it in a partition of this pretty cold Manchuria area. I mean, I'm saying pretty cold, however, I have no clue what the temperature's like in Manchuria, because I don't know. I've never been to Manchuria. Don't be surprised by that. So yeah, that country is pretty large, however the land is pretty useless. And that's just how it is. The red country will grab up a bit. Their borders look pretty weird, I don't know. I feel like they need to annex some of this Chinese stuff, just to balance it out. And the grey country will be taking some land. These guys look alright. There's not too much trade that goes on in that country, however most of the countries they border are pretty rich. So it's alright really. You know, people come to their bit to trade with them. I think I also might just add a mini city down here. And another right over here. It means they've got 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Yep. Korea looks weird. Anyway, that's not the Sakhalin bit I was going to do today. Aha. I fooled you. Probably didn't. As these guys go from their Kamchatkan colony and start exploring these islands. You know, they're exploring these islands, setting up some random trading posts, until eventually they arrive over here. They keep going through these islands. They keep going up. They keep going up. They keep going up. Keep going up. Up. Until they arrive in Alaska. This is already technically Alaska, I think. However, who cares? Make a colony here. This is like actual continental America stuff. They kind of explore around this area a slight bit. It's not a huge amount of exploration. However, they go around these coves. They realize it's cold, just like where they're from. And they're not, in the moment, within the knowledge that this is in America. They still think, oh, this is just some large island off the coast of East Asia, Northeast Asia. So they don't know they're in America yet, but it might not take them too long before they realize that. Because, you know, there's a few other countries who would also be quite interested in going over to this area. Maybe not the cold bit, but the Koreans, possibly some Japanese countries, the Chinese might, the Indians if they've got close enough. There's possibility. There's lots of possibility. Anyway, I feel like I was... Oh yeah. South China, they were meant to be doing some stuff. And the Indians, yeah. I forgot you were meant to be doing stuff today. Boom. Boom. Alright, so South China will be expanding around this area. They still managed to come out of the peace treaty with a sufficient amount of money, and lots of the South Chinese citizens managed to escape from those other countries to go to Vietnam. I mean, some of them didn't, but lots of the people who were quite intertwined with the government and how the country is run stayed at the country because they felt nationalistic and angry. And nationalistic, angry people are usually quite dangerous, unless they've been reduced to living in a tiny country. Like this, that holds absolutely no power. So India is going to expand their Indo-Chinese colony. It's a pretty big thing now. It's only been around for an episode or two. But yeah, they are in full force in colonization of this area. Or just of Southeast Asia in general. These guys will do some expansion around this area. Kind of at the bit where the Orange and the Blue Nations trying to connect. However, they're not really bothered about that. They've just tried to distance themselves from the world because they're grieving at the moment over their lost giant country. Just a load of really unhappy people in South China at the moment. But, you know, oh well. They'll probably re-immerse themselves in the world eventually. Once they stop grieving, so about another millennium or so. But they want their revenge. Anyway, there you go. There is Indochina. There's New Zealand. Had a good look at that. But the Indians aren't done with their colonization of this area because, you know, Sumatra's entirely been discovered now, I think. Sounds about right. Borneo's a new thing they've discovered recently, and they're pretty intrigued with that bit. And Malaysia's been a colony of theirs for a while. However, they're still colonizing this bit. Earlier, which is pretty huge. Load of stuff. And it doesn't look like they're going to stop anytime soon. So that's worrying. Although this colonization is a lot better than the colonization that happened in our world. Because there's no one here. Like in our world, when the Dutch came down to Indonesia, or was it the Islamic people? Because they Islamicized Southeast Asia. There were people living here and stuff like that. I mean, Vancouver as well, so we went down there as well. And the Spice Islands, but practically everyone was in the Spice Islands doing stuff. Anyway, there were people here. However, in this bit, there's no one there. So, these are like the first people to ever arrive in Sumatra, Borneo. And possibly the Philippines sometime pretty soon. As the Chinese are doing more expansion around that area. You know, the North Chinese did quite want to get Taiwan, but seeing as the Japanese took over the entire island, the Japanese were allowed to have it. However, these guys are kind of exploring this area, and it might not be too long before they arrive in the Philippines. So there's that. The Indians are still not done, however, as Tanzania exists, and they're going to be expanding this today. It's like slowly climbing towards the Ethiopian country, who's one of their best friends. Whee! I was thinking about this today, because I was thinking about trying to get in order what I wanted to do for today's episode. Planning. I was thinking about this area. I suppose the Eritrean and the Ethiopian countries have one similarity in that they both are extremely Orange Team religion. Both these guys are like fanatically Orange Team. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was kind of thinking that maybe in some regions of the country the religion might have diverted. However, the amount of trade that they do with this country, at least definitely in the interior, there's just a lot of Orange Team religion. I mean, the Indian religion is very similar to the Orange Team religion. So, yeah. And probably even in the Sudanese country, the Red Team's also the Orange Team religion. So North Africa's pretty much the same as that. I mean, I already talked about North Europe and South Europe paganism. That was quite an interesting idea, I thought. But yeah, so India. Oh, I just remembered something that I can do now. Draw more giant boxes in the ocean. Great. Now, I wasn't very exact with that box, so it really didn't look great. However, I don't care. And yet the Indians have managed to take over this entire load of islands, so now we have a giant lime box in the ocean. Great. Why? And that's not it. I'm not sure that I'm going to like this on the map. However, I think it's the best way to do it. I just do. And we're probably going to keep it, regardless. I mean, if you say I don't like how this looks. See, we could do that with some of them. I might just do this for these larger areas. Because that looks pretty good. Oh, damn. Yep. No! There we go. I am too good at this. Yeah. Yeah, tell you what, we'll do that. Let's get rid of this really crudely drawn box. And add a much cooler. So, nice. Luckily, I did something to the ocean at the start of the series, so the ocean is the same colour as, in fact, the Ethiopian country, which, whenever I get my mum to look at the map, she just tells me that, yeah, can't see the Ethiopian country. I mean, can you see the Ethiopian country? You kind of can. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying at the moment, but there you go. Anyway, that's not all for colonialism. There we go. My voice is just meh. Because I was going to do something else, and then got distracted. What does that mean? What is this? Here? Hue saturation value. What is that? What is that? That's cool. Whoa! That's sick. You can't see any of this, but it looks cool. I feel I have to make this really cool red as well. So that's an interesting idea. Anyway, 130. Yeah, we've literally done nothing with this country. I'm getting up at the moment. 130. And 170 for blue. As it is one of my favourite countries. The purple Iberian one. These guys recently took these islands over here, and they're not stopping with that. I mean, I can see those islands, and I know they're there, so I'm going to keep them as the purple country. I mean, I also know the Indians own this, but oh well. Wow. Because they're going down to America. And by America, I mean South America. They finally figured out it existed. The Iberian Purple Country has been building a lot of money recently, just saving it up and stuff, because they finally arrived in South America. And you're wondering, is there some southern place down here? And in fact, there was. And now there's a huge South American colony created in South America. So this is a massive Brazilian thing, and it's a massive step for the world, because we have people in most of the continents at the moment. No one in Australia, or Oceania. Australasia. No, no one there. However, might not be too long. But there you go. There'll be more countries joining this. And I'm wondering, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I did want to do another one for today. Because the green country, they didn't do that much colonization today. So the people are still pretty eager to do so. So they arrive in Trinidad. That's Tobago, this is Trinidad. And I know that, so I don't know why I repeated it. And they start their own small colony on the South American continent. Boom. Nice. And I really want to add another country. I really, really want to. But I just don't know if it's the right point to do it. Oh, I really want to. I think maybe in a few episodes we'll do it. But, colonization is getting pretty interesting at the moment. There's a lot of countries out there. And unfortunately we're going to be losing another one that could be out there. As the Scottish country, they got overwhelmed. The disease was affecting lots of people were dying, and it was affecting children and childbirth and stuff, as lots of those children were dying as well. So, infant mortality rates were way down. And it seems there's some things in people's bloodstreams at the moment. I'm just making this up as I go along, but it's a bad disease. However, most people who have the disease are now dying, so theoretically they can make a recovery. However, the country's just fallen into anarchy, like absolute anarchy. There's people going around pillaging and stuff, and groups are threatening to break away from the Scottish country. I mean, you'll remember, there were some reasonably strong countries in Scotland, and now some areas of division are appearing within the country. There's like an eastern area that's appearing, this northern bit, this area is reappearing, this Galloway bit over here, and we've got the entire North England bit, and it looks like the Scottish country might just be left with this area, as the Scottish division could reoccur. And they could just be picked off by the Norwegians and the English, or the Irish, to be fair. So, in the end, the Scottish Queen has a meeting with the King of England, and they get along really, really well. The Queen of Scotland and the King of England get on quite well, and actually get on really well. And in the end, they decided to marry and merge their countries into one. So Scotland and England become one country, known as the United Kingdom. Oh no. Oh no. Anyway, Britain is united. Some of you may be against this thing, this union, however, I'm sorry. And there you go. So Scotland unfortunately has disappeared. I really like the country, but yeah, it's gone, and I've got to do all of these islands now. It's really irritating. But this starts up more talks in the British Isles, and a meeting happens between what is now the dual monarchy, although it will not stay as a dual monarchy because these people are married and they'll have a child, and the child will inherit the throne. But talks begin between the UK and Ireland. And in the end, Ireland makes another purchase, and this purchase is of Southern Ireland. In the Orange country that got taken down by England, the Irish are going to purchase it and add this to their empire. So now we have a united Britain and a united Ireland. And I think that's where... oh no, no it's not. No, it's not. One more thing to talk about, because... well, that was a dice. I don't even know Why? You can't just pick up things and play with them absently whilst I'm talking. Like a dice. So... Yeah. I now dropped it. Anyway, the Red Country. They are in an interesting spot at the moment because this extremely nationalistic guy has managed to make his way into leadership. You know, he wasn't meant to become king. However, the other king died fighting rebels within the West Anatolian part of the country because, you know, there's people just rebelling there. And also in the... well, no. He died 2 times. No, he died in Anatolia. So this guy got on the throne, and the other guy was pretty good. He liked defending his country. But this guy, he's very nationalistic, and his main idea is to unite the entirety of the lands that had been once red team. And he doesn't want to do this peacefully. He's not going to send out a load of petitions. Do you want to join our country? Yeah, that'd be nice. No, he wants to do it using military. This man wants to use his military to unite the entirety of the red country sphere under his one state. And, you know, it looks reasonably possible. The red country's military is unmatched. Even the lime team would fall over pretty easily to the red country's military. And, you know, they've got like elephants and stuff, but no, the red country would pulverize them in a fight. And it's not looking good for some of these countries because the red team, they're about to go aggro. This could get messy. That was a crazy outro right there. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed the video. It was quite a cool one, I'd say. Oh. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment, or whatever the hell you like. I don't care. And I will see you again next time. We may very well have a giant war.